I joked, "I'll pretend to be your boyfriend on Christmas Eve." She replied softly, "Pretend or real?" I froze when she said it. The snow had been falling all evening outside her apartment window, dusting the city in white. The Christmas lights around her living room glowed softly, reflecting off her eyes. We just finished decorating her tiny artificial tree, something she'd begged me to help with because, as she insisted, "You're the only one who won't make it look like a disaster." But I didn't expect the joke to land like that. "Pretend or real?" I repeated quietly. She sighed and sat on the couch, pulling her knees up. "Never mind. Forget I said anything. Christmas is complicated for me." "What do you mean?" I asked, sitting beside her. She took a deep breath, fingers fiddling with the edge of the blanket. "My family is loud, traditional, judgmental. If you show up single, they act like the world is ending. My mom cries, my sister lectures me, my cousins ask what's wrong with me." She looked down. "I just don't want to deal with it alone this year." "So you want me to save you from your family?" I teased gently. She didn't smile. Her voice was soft. "I want someone beside me, someone I trust." Something in the room changed. The joking tone dissolved, replaced by something heavier, warmer, realer. "And you trust me?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "Yeah, more than I should." I took a breath. "Then tell me something. When you said pretend or real, what did you mean?" She swallowed. "I meant if you went with me, I don't know if I'd be able to pretend." Her honesty hit me harder than anything she'd ever said. "How long?" I asked quietly. She blinked. "How long what?" "How long have you wanted it to be real?" Her lips parted, breath catching. "A while." I didn't know what to say. My heart hammered like I'd run miles. Because I had felt it too. Every time she leaned her head on my shoulder, every time she laughed too hard at my dumb jokes, every time she looked at me a moment longer than necessary. But I never said anything. I didn't want to ruin what we had. She leaned her head back against the couch, staring at the ceiling lights twinkling above us. "You don't have to say anything. I know you don't feel the same." I turned to her slowly. "Why would you assume that?" She laughed weakly. "Because if you did, you wouldn't have just joked about pretending." I didn't answer. I just reached out, gently taking her hand. She stiffened, surprised, then relaxed, her fingers slowly curling around mine. "I didn't joke because I didn't feel anything," I whispered. "I joked because I was scared." She turned her face toward me. "Scared of what?" "Of wanting it to be real," I admitted. "Of wanting you to be mine and not knowing if you wanted the same." Her breath trembled. "You mean that?" she asked. I nodded, every word. She shifted closer, so close I could feel the warmth of her knee against my leg. Her eyes were shining, not with tears but with something deeper, something she'd been holding back for too long. "Then answer me now," she whispered. "Pretend or real?" I cupped her face gently, my thumb brushing her cheek as the Christmas lights flickered across her skin. "Real," I said softly, "only real." Her breath caught and she leaned forward slowly, carefully, giving me every chance to pull away. I didn't. Our foreheads touched first, then her nose brushed mine. Her lips trembled. Then she whispered, "Can I?" I closed the distance. The kiss was soft at first, hesitant like neither of us wanted to break the moment. Her hands slid up to my shoulders, pulling me closer, and I deepened the kiss gently, feeling her melt into me. When we finally broke apart, she rested her head on my chest, breathing hard, like her heart was trying to catch up with what just happened. "This feels right," she whispered, "too right." "It's supposed to," I murmured into her hair. We stayed like that for a long time, wrapped in each other, surrounded by soft lights and quiet snow falling outside. After a while, she looked up again. "So you'll come with me on Christmas Eve?" she asked softly. "Of course." "As my boyfriend," she said, voice barely above a whisper. I smiled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "As whatever you want me to be." She leaned in again, kissing me softly, slower this time, her fingers slipping into my hair like she'd wanted to do it for years. When she pulled back, she whispered one more thing, the real truth she'd been hiding. "I don't want this to end when Christmas does." And I answered without hesitation. "It won't." She rested her forehead against mine, eyes closed, smiling. "This Christmas," she whispered, "might be the first one I'm not afraid of." "Because you won't be alone," I said. "Because I'll have you," she corrected softly. And she held my hand tighter, as if she'd finally found exactly where she belonged. For days she acted normal on the outside, but I could see the nerves under her smile, the way she kept checking her messages, fixing her hair, asking if her outfit looked okay. She was excited, but terrified too. Meeting her family wasn't just a holiday visit. It was walking into the place where she'd been judged, pressured, and made to feel like she wasn't enough. I could feel her tension as she adjusted her coat before we left. She paused by the door, hesitating. "You ready?" I asked gently. She nodded, then shook her head, then nodded again. "Just promise me one thing." I stepped closer. "Anything. If they push too hard, if they make comments, don't let go of my hand. Even if I try to pull away, don't let me do it." I squeezed her hand instantly. "I won't let go." She breathed out shakily, relieved. "Okay, then I'm ready." We reached her family home just after sunset. The house was glowing with decorations, warm lights, a wreath, snow piled along the front porch. It looked peaceful, but she gripped my hand like she was walking into battle. The moment the door opened, a wave of voices flooded out. "Oh, she brought someone. Is this him? You finally have a boyfriend. How did you two meet?" She froze under all the attention, but I didn't let go. I squeezed her hand gently, reminding her I was right there. She glanced at me gratefully. Her mother was the first to step forward, a woman with sharp eyes softened by curiosity. "Aren't you handsome?" she said, pulling me into a warm hug before I could react. "She never brings anyone home for Christmas." "She never met the right person until now," I said without thinking. Her mom's eyebrows lifted. My girl's face flushed deeply, but she didn't pull her hand away. Dinner was chaos in every direction. Uncles arguing about football, cousins whispering, her grandmother asking questions loudly enough for the whole table to hear. "So how serious are you? When the wedding? You're not breaking her heart, are you?" I held her hand under the table, thumb stroking her knuckles each time she stiffened. Her cousin, the one she warned me about, leaned over from across the table, smirking. "Funny," he said. "She's never had a boyfriend her whole life, and suddenly she finds someone right before Christmas." She tensed immediately, looking down. But I didn't let them corner her. I looked him dead in the eye. Sometimes it just takes meeting the right person. Then I said it louder than necessary for the whole family to hear. "She's incredible. Anyone would be lucky to be with her." Every conversation at the table paused. She looked up at me slowly, eyes wide, breath caught, like she couldn't believe someone had defended her so openly. Her mom watched us with a softened expression. Her cousin leaned back, stunned into silence. When dinner ended, she tugged my hand gently and whispered, "Come with me." She led me upstairs into her childhood room, a small, cozy place with old fairy lights, stacked books, a bed covered with a blanket she clearly bought years ago. The room looked like a time capsule of who she used to be. She sat on the bed, shoulders relaxing for the first time that night. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded, "Better than I've been in a long time." She looked at me with a softness she had never shown before. "You didn't let go of my hand, not once." "You asked me not to," I said. Her voice dropped. "I didn't think you'd actually listen." I sat beside her. I meant what I said. She looked at me for a long moment, eyes searching my face. Then she whispered, Why do you treat me like I matter?" Because you do, I said simply. She blinked fast, tears collecting but not falling. Most people make me feel like a burden. You're not. They make me feel too emotional. You feel deeply, that's strength. They make me feel unlovable. You're the easiest person in the world to love. The tears finally spilled, and she quickly wiped them away, embarrassed. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't apologize, I murmured, touching her cheek. Cry if you need to, I've got you. She leaned into my hand without hesitation, like her heart had been waiting for this kind of safety for years. Slowly, she wrapped her arms around my waist and rested her head on my chest. Stay like this, she whispered, just for a minute. I held her, my chin brushing the top of her head. Her fingers curled around my shirt, like she didn't want to risk losing contact. After a moment, she lifted her head slightly, eyes still shimmering. You know, she whispered, when I asked if this was pretend or real, I was terrified of the answer. And now, I asked softly. She swallowed. Now I'm terrified of how real it feels. I leaned closer. Does it feel too real? No, she whispered, her lips inches from mine. It feels perfect. Our breaths intertwined. She hesitated, not because she didn't want to kiss me, but because she wanted it too much. I closed the distance slowly, giving her every chance to stop. She didn't. The kiss was deeper this time, warmer, filled with everything we couldn't say downstairs. She slid her hands up my shoulders, pulling me closer, almost climbing into my lap. I held her by the waist, kissing her like I'd been waiting for years. When we finally stopped, she rested her forehead against mine. Can I ask you something? She whispered. Anything. When tonight is over, when Christmas is over, will you still want me? I cupped her jaw gently. I don't just want Christmas with you, I want everything. She breathed out shakily. Then don't leave after tonight. I won't. I mean, don't leave even after Christmas. I won't. She smiled, a small, trembling, relieved smile, and whispered. Good, because I think I'm falling for you. I kissed her again, slow and certain. I already fell. And in that quiet, warm room filled with old memories and new hopes, she curled up against me, holding my hand like she never wanted to let go. And neither did I.